Hello once again, welcome to example 5 on the simplification of SURD that I started with you in the previous videos. In the previous videos, we started learning about SURD and we've done a detailed explanation of what SURD is, and also we handled the simplification of SURD and we've solved many examples on it, okay, and I hope you all understood it and enjoyed the lesson as well. So this is a continuation to solve another example with you. This is example 5. It means we've already done example 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the previous videos, and I hope you all understood it and you enjoyed the lesson. So in this video we are going to solve another example, which is example 5, okay. So I will advise that you do well to watch the previous videos, because I keep on saying that the previous videos lays the foundation, okay. Do well to watch the previous videos that I've done so that you get the basic foundation and understanding to be able to handle this one as well. And please don't forget to like the videos and also share them after watching. So let's go ahead and solve the example 5 that I have on the board. So example 5, it says that without using calculator, simplify square root of 32. Okay, so without using a calculator, we are going to simplify the square root of 32. Okay, and we know that when we type it on the calculator, square root of 32, the calculator will give us a straight answer. Okay, but we are going to go through the process that I've shown you in the previous videos. Then we are going to arrive at the same answer that the calculator will give us. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it together. So let me write my solution, okay, on the board, and let's do it together. So I have square root of 32. We have to simplify this one. Okay, so this is SURD. Okay, so we have to simplify it. So I've explained to you that the first step to simplify this one is that you look for two numbers that can multiply to give you back the 32. Okay, but those two numbers that can multiply to give you back the 32, one of it needs to be a perfect square, and I hope you remember that. Okay, so one of them have to be a perfect square. So I advise you to list all the possible two numbers that can multiply to give you back the 32. You list all of them down, okay, so that then you go ahead and identify the one which has a perfect square in it. Okay, and I've done an example of that in the previous videos. Okay, I list all the possible factors down, all the possible two numbers down that can multiply. Okay, then we identify the one which has a perfect square in it. So if you are learning it for the first time, okay, I will advise you list all the two possible numbers that can multiply to give you back the 32 down. You list all of them down, then you identify the one which has a perfect square in it. Okay, then you know which one to use. I've explained to you that you don't pick the one which has the digit 1 in it as a perfect square. Okay, that's why we don't use it, because if you use it, it will still land you at the same question that you have been given. Okay, so you don't use the one which has the digit 1 in it as a perfect square. Okay, that's why it's very important that you watch the previous videos, because all these explanations I've done it in the previous videos. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this one. So the two possible numbers, okay, that can multiply, okay, to give you the 32, but having one of the values to be a perfect square, okay, is going to be, now you can think of 16 times 2. 16 times 2 gives 32. Okay, so this 16 is a perfect square. Don't forget I said that one of the two numbers has to be a perfect square. Okay, so 16 times the 2 gives the 32, and we have the 16 to be a perfect square. Okay, we can also think of 8 times 4. 8 times 4 gives 32. Okay, and the 4 is a perfect square. Okay, so either you use this one or this, all of it will give you the same answer. Okay, but in order for you not to get confused, I'm going to use the two of them to solve it. Okay, so that you arrive at the same answer. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to use the first one to solve it, and also I'm going to use the second one to solve it, and we are going to arrive at the same answer. Okay, so this 16 times 2, it gives the 32, okay, and the 16 is a perfect square, meaning that we can use this one, okay. And also the 8 times 4 gives 32, and the 4 is a perfect square, so we can use this one as well, okay. So let's start with the 16 times 2, okay. So let me clean this one from here and let's do it together. So in place of the 32, I'll write 16 times 2. So my square root of 32 will be equal to square root of, then you replace the 32 by 16 times 2, okay. I hope you understand this one. Then now the next step is that the square root sign affects everything under the square root, okay. So the square root sign will affect the 16 and also affect the 2. So we are going to write it in separate form like this. It's going to be square root of 16 times square root of 2, okay. So I hope you understand this because we've done a lot of explanation on this in the previous videos, okay. So now let's go ahead and simplify further, okay. Now square root of 16, we know the answer to be 4, so you write your 4 there, then bring your times. Now square root of 2, it will not give a whole number as an answer, so you leave it, you just repeat the square root of 2. Since the square root of 2, you not get a whole number as an answer, all that you need to do is just to repeat it, okay. So we are going to repeat the square root of 2, which is here, okay. Now for us to simplify further, we just need to do our multiplication. So 4 times square root of 2, it's going to give you 4 root 2, okay, and this becomes your final answer for simplifying the SURD, which is square root of 32. And I hope the explanation was clear enough and you understood it. So this is the answer. If you type the square root of 32 on the calculator will give you a straight answer, which is the 4 root 2, okay. Now let's use the 8 times 4 also and see how it goes. You get the same answer, okay. So or let me write all here, okay, and let's do another solution at this side, okay. So I have a square root of 32, okay. So square root of 32, then we bring our equal to, now the 32 we can replace it with 8 times 4, okay, because 8 times 4 gives 32, okay, and the 4 is a perfect square, so we can use that one as well, okay. So I'm going to write 4 times 8, okay. Please, if you write 8 times 4, is the same thing because I've explained to you that multiplication is commutative, okay. 4 times 8 is the same as 8 times 4, okay. So it's the same thing when you change them, okay. So now let's go and simplify further, okay. Please hope you are following. So now the square root affects everything here, okay. So the square root will affect the 4 and also is going to affect the 8 as well, okay. So we can write it as square root of 4 times square root of 8, okay. I hope you understand up to this point, okay. Now the square root of 4, we know the answer, okay. So the square root of 4 is 2, okay. So let's write our 2 there, times, now the square root of 8, we will not get a whole number as an answer for square root of 8, okay, but we know that the square root of 8, we can break it down, okay. So the square root of 8, we can break it down, we can reduce it, okay. So now again, we look for two numbers that can multiply to give you the 8, but one of those two numbers needs to be a perfect square, okay. Please hope you understand the explanation, okay. I'm saying that though we cannot get a whole number as an answer for square root of 8, we can reduce the square root of 8, we can simplify it, okay. So we look for two numbers that can multiply to give you back the 8, but one of the two numbers needs to be a perfect square, okay. And those two numbers that come in mind will be 4 and 2. 4 times 2 is 8 and the 4 is a perfect square, okay. So bring your times, which is here, then the square root of 8, we can replace the 8 by 4 times 2, and I hope you agree with me up to this point, okay. Now from here, all that you have to do is to simplify further, okay. The square root sign will affect the 4 and also affect the 2, the same process as we did for this one, okay. The square root sign affects the 4 and also affects the 2, so we can rewrite it like this. So we have our 2 times, so bring your 2, which is here, times. Now when we reach here, the square root sign will affect the 4, so we have square root of 4 times, and the square root sign will affect the 2 as well, so square root of 2, okay. So as you have been doing, okay. Now the square root of 4, we know the answer, so let's write the answer down. So, but first repeat your 2, which is here. So 2 times square root of 4 is 2. Okay, so you bring your 2, then times the square root of 2, which is here. I hope you agree with me up to this point. Now let's multiply. 2 times 2 gives 4. Okay, so I'll have 4 times the square root of 2. Okay, so from here, let's simplify further. Okay, so we have 2 times 2 times root 2. Okay, so 2 times 2 gives 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify. So 2 times 2 gives 4. So I'll write my 4, then times the root 2, which I have here. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4 times the root 2. Now let's multiply and get our final answer. So 4 times root 2 gives 4 root 2. Okay, and that becomes your final answer. Okay, so this is your final answer for simplifying the square root of 32, and you can see that we are getting the same answer as this. Okay, so when we use the 4 times the 8, we got 4 root 2, and when we use the 16 times the 2, we are also getting 4 root 2 here, so we are getting the same answer. So either you use the 4 times the 8 or the 16 times the 2, you arrive at the same answer. I hope the explanation was clear enough and you understood it as well. Please don't forget to like the video and also share the video as well. In the next video, we'll start looking at addition and subtraction of SURD. So be expectant. I'll see you in the next video whilst we continue with the topic SURD. Bye bye.